The Shooting Range. In this episode, pages of history, controversial air victories, Squadmates storming the Carpathians, and Metal Beasts, British Cowboy. The Her Majesty's Hussar Battle Pass is already out, and our players will soon reach the main prize of this season. What can you expect from it? Let's take a closer look today and see what this machine is like in advance. Please welcome the Centurion Mark II. Its main caliber is a two-plane stabilized 76mm gun with elevation angles between -12 and +20 degrees. It's enhanced by a coaxial machine gun. The turret also has smoke grenade launchers. The layout is classic. The engine and transmission compartment is in the rear, the driver sits in the front, and the other 3 crew members are in the turret. The ammo racks are found in the front part of the hull and the bottom of the combat compartment. It would be fair to assume that the Centurion Mark II is somewhere in between models 1 and 3, and that's basically true, but we'd still like to touch upon the main highlights. The turret of this new tank would be familiar to those who own the Centurion Mark III. It does have its vulnerabilities, but it's far from insecure. All in all, it's pretty good for a medium tank. Now, the cannon and all the ammo here is inherited from the predecessor. It's a good old 17-pounder. The gun alone would have been very good for this battle rating, but the Mark II actually has a 2-plane stabilizer as well. By the way, there's a reason we mentioned the ammo. It might be wise to carry 3 types of rounds here since the quick reload rate allows for timely switching. For your main shell, we recommend the Solid Shot Mark VIII. It has enough penetration for most possible opponents while also boasting a good after-penetration effect. For the thickest targets out there, keep a few sub-caliber shells around. You might also want to memorize the positions of ammo racks and gunners on the most popular tanks. And finally, load a few HE rounds to get rid of open-top vehicles faster. 5 pieces should be enough. Still, we believe the main advantage of this tank is the 2-plane stabilizer. It's a real luxury at this BR, and you shouldn't underestimate how valuable it can be, even on the not-so-fast Centurion tank. The stabilizer is what defines the tactics on the Mark II. Your best choice here is the central attack lines, where you should slowly but surely push the enemies in. This tank will always have the chance to shoot first. The rest is up to you, and you can just as easily make your first shots their last. What page of military aviation do you think is the most mysterious and controversial one? We don't have a straight answer ourselves, but we do have a strong contender. The clashes between the Soviet and Finnish air forces between 1941 and 1944. Nowhere else would you find so many oddities. Quite a few moments still have no rational explanations. For instance, there was this Finnish flying ace by the name of Ilmari Juttilainen, who claimed 94 victories over Soviet aircraft and stated that he once managed to down a Soviet P-38 Lightning accompanied by 2 I-153s. Jokes aside, the statement itself is bewildering. Have we missed something? Was the P-38 ever shipped to the Soviet Union? Nope, sure wasn't. And we're not trying to pick sides here since the Finnish pilots weren't the only one with odd claims. The Soviet side was just as perplexing. Here's one of their amazing fables. Around the fall of 1941, the Finns were struggling with this Soviet airbase on the Hanko Peninsula. Actually, struggling is too mild of a word. The base was a true splinter in the back for the Finns. It was hidden so well in the rocks that neither ground assault nor artillery fire could make much difference. Air suppression and cutting off supplies weren't valid options either, since the base had some good anti-air defenses. The short days and stormy weather helped Soviet vessels make it to the base and deliver food and ammo in time. So the Finnish Air Force decided that they had to neutralize the Soviet I-153 and I-16 planes before proceeding. The task was assigned to one of the best squadrons they had, the one commanded by Paavo Berg, a famed ace. The events unfolded almost too quickly to comprehend. On an early November morning, the Finnish pilots took off on their Spitfires and intercepted two I-16s, piloted by Ivan Tvorogov and Gennady Tsukalayev. Now, hold up a minute. Spitfires? What Spitfires? How on earth could Finland even have them? That's exactly the question many later asked of Vasily Golubyev, then first lieutenant. It was him who made the scramble to help Tvorogov and Tsukalayev, who were struggling against 4 Finnish aircraft. The latter missed the arrival of reinforcements and paid dearly for it. A single volley of 4 MGs basically sawed Paavo Berg's plane into halves. It fell down into the water next to a Soviet ship, and the pilot never bailed. The rest of the group was so devastated by the loss of their commander that Tvorogov damaged another Spitfire before the Finns made their retreat. A few days later, a group of now 5 Spitfires returned, probably for a revanche. According to Golubyev, who met them with 4 I-16s, the Soviet and Finnish pilots even greeted each other before battle, rocking their wings and challenging each other to a fight. And what a fight it was! Once again, the Finnish aces lost 2 more fighters and had to retreat. Now, the story does have its beauty, but one thing can't leave our minds. The Finns later said they never lost a single Spitfire that November, simply because they never had Spitfires in the first place. Captain Paavo Berg, who lost his life on November 1st above the Hanko Peninsula, had been flying a Curtiss Hawk 75, same as the rest of his squadron. Could the Soviet pilot have daydreamed all those Spitfires? Well, Vasily Golubyev survived the war, downed 39 planes, and lived all the way to 2001. And when he was asked who he really fought that day, he answered, "Friends, do I look like someone who can't tell a Curtiss P-36 from a Spitfire with its 8-wing machine guns?" Fair enough. They don't look even remotely similar. Last time we fought on the tropic coast of the jungle map, and today we'd like to study the battlefield in the Carpathian Hills. The tactics we're going to offer are valid for both sides, since the landscape is very similar. Scenario 1 implies the players should split up right after they spawn. One of them should follow the gorge towards point C, while the other one should take the road to point A. You don't need to rush the capture, though. Pay attention to the firing lines that both of you should be able to reach at the same time. One of those lines is on the exit from the gorge, giving you a view of the enemies attacking points A and B. The second firing line connects the elevated area to the exit from the enemy side of the gorge. The squadmates can use crossfire to at least slow the advance of the enemy. When the first wave of the attackers is intercepted, it's time to capture some points. You might have to deflect a new attack later, and the partners can help each other from their positions. One of them can play bait and lure the enemies under their squadmates' fire, provided from the other side of the map. It's a pretty long distance, sure, but it won't take too long to get used to it. Scenario 2 doesn't need you to split up early. Both players should start by moving towards point A. You can make a few shots towards the enemy gorge on the go, but don't get carried away. Speed is your ultimate tool here. Once you reach the foot of the hill, split up. One tank should head around it, while the other one should attack the point head-on. This way you can surround an even bigger enemy group and handle it with just 2 barrels by shooting from opposite sides. All you need is good coordination. Once point A is clear and captured, find yourselves some good positions to shoot at the lower area. There are plenty of options here, and you can easily move between them to have maximum control over the battlefield. If your team succeeds in capping another point, your job is basically done. If the enemy has the strategic advantage, you'll have to act bolder. For instance, one of the players can go down to point B and cap it with their squadmates covering fire, then dash back to the foothill. This place can't offer a view as good as the higher one, but it's still better than hiding in the capture area and attracting attention, or trying to get back to point A and exposing yourself on the climb. Moreover, this place gives you some room to maneuver. You can quickly reposition yourself to reinforce one of the defense lines. Any successful team game depends on a number of factors, but the most important ones are always cooperation and communication. Remember to share intel with your squadmates and try to find an optimal solution, even in the trickiest situations. Listen to each other's tips, and no enemy trick will be an issue for you. And don't forget that you can search for a squadmate right in the comments below. Tell us what map you'd like to see next and share your tactical ideas. And now it's time for us to answer some of your questions. The first question was sent by a player called Sexy Claus. Why do the German tech tree G91s lose half of their machine guns or cannons just because you want to use Nord's AS? Hi there! The G91s from any nation lose half of their machine guns when Nord missiles are there because they need the space for devices that control the missiles. Cloaker190 asks, which Tier 6 Soviet tank is the best for the first Tier 6 tank? Hey Cloaker, we'd recommend you try the T-55 first. It has some decent mobility and a bit of armor, while its ammunition will teach you to switch between different types of shells. Another question comes from Papery Bark 54. What's the difference between the M1A1 and the IPM1 besides the gun size? Hi there, Papery Bark. The gun is actually their only difference. The rate of fire is the main attribute of efficiency here, so the IPM1 performs a bit better despite its smaller caliber. Just for Music writes, which tank within its BR can destroy the T-95? Hello! Penetrating the front of the T-95 is truly difficult. Only tanks armed with sub-caliber and high-explosive shells can do that, like the FV-4202 or the STA. As for the sides, even strong capped rounds can pen them, such as the German 88mm or the Soviet 100 and 122mm ones. And the last comment for today was written by Phantomly Good. Should the new F4S Phantom be bought? Hi there, Phantomly Good. The purchase decision is entirely up to you. We can only tell you about the pros and cons of this aircraft. The former include a good radar, the AIM-7 missiles, and a helmet-mounted display. It also has a good choice of bombs and rockets if you don't mind unguided ordnance at such a high battle rating. As for the flaws, the Phantom's flight performance is nowhere near that of the Gen 4 fighters that it has to encounter. It's also lacking all-aspect IR-guided missiles and a forward-firing cannon. That's it for today. You've been watching The Shooting Range by Gaijin Entertainment, and the next episode will premiere the following Sunday at 4 p.m. GMT or noon Eastern Time. Subscribe and click the bell if you don't want to miss our next videos. Don't forget to disguise your Spitfire as a P-36. Leave a like, share your thoughts and comments, and see you next week.